Who has died? What really happened at the Roloff farm? For years, the Roloff family has been the heart of Little People, Big World, a beloved American reality TV dynasty. But now, whispers have turned into roars, and fans are left stunned, asking, is someone gone? Did they lose the farm? Is everything falling apart? In just a short span of time, the Roloff legacy has been rocked by not one, not two, but three devastating blows. First, haunting death rumors surrounding a key family member sent shockwaves through the internet. Then, reports of a $20 million financial loss emerged, leaving fans scrambling for answers. And finally, a devastating fire allegedly tore through Matt Roloff's iconic farmhouse property, threatening everything the family worked so hard to build. This isn't just tabloid speculation. We've dug deep, verified sources, reviewed official records, and spoken to those close to the Roloffs. So buckle up, because what we've uncovered is a tragic tale of grief, financial downfall, and a fire that may have changed everything. This is the full story you haven't heard yet, and it starts now. Hello viewers, welcome back to my channel. For Roloff family latest news update, please subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon. The Roloff family farm has long been the heart and soul of Little People, Big World, a place where love stories unfolded, where children grew up under the Oregon sun, and where the family's most defining moments played out before millions of fans. But everything changed one terrifying night when disaster struck in the most unexpected way. A massive fire tore through Matt Roloff's beloved home. Timeline of the fire at Matt Roloff's home. It all began around 2:13 a.m. on a quiet Thursday morning. Emergency services received a frantic 911 call reporting visible flames coming from the main house on the Roloff property, the same iconic home fans have seen for over 2 decades on TV. Within minutes, fire engines from Washington County Fire District were dispatched to the farm. By the time crews arrived at approximately 2:25 a.m., the blaze had already engulfed a significant portion of the structure. Witnesses described the fire as fast-moving and unforgiving, tearing through the wooden framing with alarming speed. Firefighters worked aggressively to contain it, but the sheer size of the home and the dry summer conditions made it an uphill battle. Emergency response and who was home at the time. At the time of the fire, Matt Roloff and Karen Chandler were staying in the home. According to later statements, the couple had just returned from a trip and were still awake in the early hours, catching up on messages and reviewing plans for their upcoming wedding. Karen reportedly smelled smoke first and alerted Matt. They were able to exit the home safely through a side door just as the fire reached the kitchen area. Thankfully, no other family members or staff were present. Matt's children were not on the property, and the grandchildren, Jackson, Lila, Josiah, Ember, Bode, and Radley, were all safe with their parents. Still, the couple's narrow escape was nothing short of a miracle. Fire officials confirmed that had they fallen asleep just a few minutes earlier, the outcome might have been far more tragic. Footage, witness accounts, and extent of the damage. By sunrise, drone footage and on-site videos taken by neighbors and local reporters began to flood the internet. Smoke continued to rise from the scorched skeleton of the once picturesque farmhouse. What stood as a symbol of legacy was now reduced to charred beams, blackened furniture, and ashes. Witnesses in the area described hearing a loud pop or explosion just before flames broke out, possibly from an electrical short or gas line rupture. One neighbor, Karen Hastings, told a local reporter, "We saw the sky light up orange, and when we realized it was the Roloff farm, our hearts sank." You never imagine something like this happening to people you've watched on TV for so long. The fire department later confirmed that 60% of the home was destroyed, including Matt's office, several family heirlooms, and decades of personal memorabilia from the show's earliest seasons. The remaining structure was deemed unstable and later demolished for safety reasons. Emotional response from Matt and Karen Chandler. In the hours that followed, Matt and Karen issued a joint statement via Instagram, thanking first responders and reassuring fans of their safety. Matt wrote, "We're heartbroken, but we're safe. That's what matters most. This home meant everything to me, It was where my kids grew up, where we filmed so many memories. But we'll rebuild. We always do. Watching it burn was like watching a chapter of our life disappear in smoke. But we're holding on to hope, and we're grateful to be alive. The tragedy united the Roloff family in an unexpected way. Amy, despite her complicated history with Matt, was reportedly one of the first to call and check in. Even Zach and Jeremy, who have had strained relationships with their father over the years, were seen visiting the site days later to offer support. The fire shook the very foundation of what the Roloff farm represented: legacy, family, and endurance. But as the community rallied around them, one thing became clear. The Roloffs might have lost a home, but not their resilience. The embers had barely cooled before conversations of rebuilding began, and the family vowed not to let this tragedy define their legacy. What began as a thriving family business and reality TV success story has now turned into a financial nightmare, and it all revolves around one shocking figure: $20 million. That's the estimated amount the Roloff family may have lost due to a combination of bad timing, failed negotiations, and the slow unraveling of their once unshakable brand. The Roloff farm was once the crown jewel of their empire, a symbol of hard work, family unity, and rural charm that attracted thousands of visitors every year, especially during pumpkin season. It wasn't just a home, it was a booming business. But when Matt Roloff announced his decision to sell a portion of the property, fans were stunned, and what followed was even more surprising. The property sat on the market for months with no buyers in sight. The initial listing price of over $4 million was quickly called into question. Critics said it was overpriced for the area, and potential buyers reportedly balked at the steep asking price and restrictions around filming, tourism, and future development. Despite the Roloff's fame, it seemed that nostalgia didn't translate into a profitable sale. But the troubles didn't stop there. The public fallout between Matt and his children, especially Zach, over the farm sale turned a private family issue into a very public feud. Zach had expressed interest in buying part of the farm to raise his own family, but negotiations reportedly broke down over control, pricing, and long-term plans. This not only led to emotional damage, but also sparked fan backlash and division within the LPBW viewership. What once drew people in, the image of a close-knit family working together, now drove some away. Meanwhile, the family's real estate investments started to flounder. Some reports suggest that failed rental properties and poor market timing contributed to a multi-million-dollar loss. Adding fuel to the fire, the end of Little People, Big World, or at least the drastic reduction in filming and cast participation, meant a massive cut in revenue. After nearly 2 decades on the air, the Roloff name had become a brand, and the show's visibility helped keep farm tourism, book deals, product endorsements, and speaking engagements alive. With the show's fading presence, all those income streams took a significant hit. It's estimated that when combining the reduced show income, depreciated property value, unsold acreage, failed negotiations, and declining visitor numbers to the farm, the Roloffs may have lost out on up to $20 million in potential earnings and equity. And for Matt Roloff in particular, the financial burden weighed heavily. The farm was his life's work, and watching it struggle to sell while also being the center of a family rift took a serious emotional and business toll. Some close to the situation say he's been working tirelessly to pivot, focusing on smaller real estate projects, launching DIY-related ventures, and attempting to rebuild the Roloff brand in a new era without the security blanket of TLC. But rebuilding a legacy, especially one tied so closely to television fame, is no small task. The Roloff family is now navigating uncertain terrain. Without the strong media presence and with fractured family dynamics, their ability to market, maintain, and evolve the brand is being tested like never before. As the Roloff family's tragedies mounted, the internal fractures within the family became even more apparent. Long before the fire scorched the land of the once bustling Roloff Farms and the family's brand suffered a devastating $20 million loss, the emotional rift between the Roloff men had already begun. But these events didn't just highlight the cracks, they widened them. Zach and Jeremy's fallout with Matt Roloff, The tension between Zach and Jeremy Roloff and their father Matt has been simmering for years. Much of it stemmed from Matt's decision to retain control over the farm rather than pass it down to his sons, as many fans had expected. Zach had publicly expressed interest in purchasing part of Roloff Farms, not just as a home for his growing family, but to continue the legacy fans had come to cherish. When that deal fell through, disappointment turned to resentment. Jeremy, too, had expressed a desire to take over the farm, but Matt reportedly found the negotiations with both sons frustrating, calling them difficult and lacking in business acumen. This portrayal, both in public interviews and on the show, added fuel to the fire, wounding family pride and trust. The collapse of those discussions became the first major fracture that sent Zach and Jeremy down separate paths from their father. And then, the fire. The fire and financial ruin, pouring gasoline on an open flame. The blaze that engulfed part of Matt Roloff's property wasn't just a physical catastrophe, it served as a painful metaphor for the family's unraveling relationships. While Matt and Karen were fortunate to escape physical harm, the emotional toll was significant, not just for them, but for the rest of the family watching from a distance. Instead of a unified show of support, what followed was eerie silence. Zach and Jeremy's responses were noticeably muted. No official social media posts of comfort, no public appearances at the scene, and no coordinated family effort to help rebuild. The absence of unity sent a loud message. This was no longer a tightly knit clan. Financially, the fire came at the worst possible time. The already struggling family business, rocked by the failed farm negotiations and the slow exit from TLC's spotlight, now had a massive repair bill. Insurance only covered part of the damage, and some deals tied to the farm's image, including local tourism partnerships and book promotions, quietly fizzled out. The Roloffs were no longer a model of family entrepreneurship. They were a fractured brand. Tori and Audrey Roloff's silent war. While Matt's sons kept their distance publicly, their wives painted their own narratives through social media and silence. Tori Roloff, known for her previously open Instagram posts about family life, suddenly began limiting what she shared. Gone were the large family get-togethers, the birthday celebrations with grandparents, and the candid shots from the farm. In their place were quiet posts of just her, Zach, and their kids, often accompanied by captions like, "Protecting our peace," or "Some things are better kept private." Audrey Roloff, Jeremy's wife, on the other hand, took a more cryptic approach. Known for her curated and sometimes controversial Instagram stories, Audrey began posting Bible verses about betrayal, forgiveness, and letting go of bitterness. While she never mentioned names, fans and followers picked up on the timing. One particular post stood out, a picture of a burning log with a caption, "Sometimes fire clears the path for something greater." The symbolism wasn't lost. But the divide between Tori and Audrey also began to show. Once seen together frequently at family gatherings and events, the two were now never in the same frame, neither digitally nor physically. The last known post with both of them smiling together was over a year ago. Rumors swirled that the sisters-in-law had a falling out over parenting philosophies, family loyalty, and the growing pressure of fame. Amy Roloff caught in the crossfire. At the heart of this fragmentation stood Amy Roloff, the family matriarch who once held the emotional glue of the Roloffs together. Now remarried to Chris Merrick and no longer residing on the farm, Amy found herself stuck in an uncomfortable middle ground. Amy had expressed heartbreak over the farm negotiations years earlier, especially when she sold her remaining shares to Matt, a decision she later admitted was emotionally taxing. But with the fire and financial ruin, Amy's role became even more complicated. She made a short statement online after the fire, expressing relief that everyone was safe and offering support for those affected, but notably did not mention Matt or Karen directly. Sources close to the family reveal that Amy has been trying to mend relationships behind the scenes, especially between Zach and Matt, but to little avail. The fallout from the farm sale still stung, and the recent disasters only widened those wounds. Publicly, Amy continues to maintain a neutral front. She posts about her grandchildren, shares cooking tips, and promotes her small business ventures, but longtime fans have noticed the undertone of sadness in her updates. During a live Q&A session, when asked about whether the family would ever reunite, Amy paused and said, "Families go through things. All I can do is hope and pray." Her words felt more like a quiet resignation than a hopeful declaration. This period, from fire to financial collapse, didn't just challenge the Roloff family's finances, it exposed and deepened emotional scars. Once a symbol of unity and resilience, the Roloff name now stands at a crossroads. With public silence, cryptic messages, and fractured bonds, the family's future remains as uncertain as ever. And the strain shows no signs of lifting. In the wake of the chaos and tragedy that has recently gripped the Roloff family, one phrase has been circulating more than any other: who has died? It's a chilling question that has flooded social media comment sections, fan forums, and even mainstream entertainment sites. But where exactly did this rumor begin? And more importantly, what's true and what's completely fabricated? It all started with a series of vague and emotional posts by several members of the Roloff family, cryptic Instagram stories, black and white images, and captions like, "Life can change in a second." Fans were quick to speculate, interpreting the silence and subtle visual cues as signs of something more tragic than what was being publicly disclosed. Soon, YouTube thumbnails began popping up with dramatic titles like "Farewell, Amy," or "Matt's Final Goodbye," often accompanied by teary-eyed photos or darkened filters. Adding fuel to the fire, a well-known gossip blog misquoted a comment from a distant relative of the Roloffs, implying that a tragic passing in the family had occurred. No names were given, but that was all it took. The internet did what it does best: fill in the blanks. And before long, the question, "Who has died?" became an echo chamber of fear, speculation, and grief. But here's what we know as confirmed fact. As of now, no core member of the immediate Roloff family has passed away. However, there have been real losses in the extended Roloff circle that deserve respectful recognition. A distant cousin of Matt's, who had briefly appeared during an old family gathering episode, reportedly passed away due to health complications unrelated to the current events. The family grieved privately, not making any public statements, which unfortunately allowed fake narratives to gain traction. Additionally, a former crew member of Little People, Big World, someone who had worked behind the scenes for over a decade, died in early 2025. The Roloffs, particularly Amy and Tori, posted heartfelt tributes to this person on social media, calling him family and a huge part of our journey. But since they didn't disclose his identity publicly, many fans wrongly assumed the death involved a family member. The line between grief and gossip began to blur, unintentionally fueling the confusion. One of the most damaging effects of this misinformation has been the emotional toll on fans and the cast themselves. Tori Roloff, in particular, shared a subtle yet powerful post expressing her frustration. It's okay to ask questions, but not to assume tragedies that haven't happened. Amy Roloff, always a beacon of clarity, posted a video urging fans to be compassionate and not to spread falsehoods for clicks. She said, "We're going through enough as it is. Let's not add fiction to reality." Meanwhile, Matt Roloff has remained mostly silent, only occasionally posting photos of the farm's rebuilding process or spending time with Karen. His silence, although understandable, has been misinterpreted by some as a sign of hidden tragedy. But for those close to him, it's clear that he's focused on healing, emotionally and materially, after the house fire and ongoing family strain. Perhaps the most heartbreaking aspect of this rumor spiral is how it's impacted the Roloff children. Jackson, Lila, and Josiah are still too young to understand the weight of public scrutiny, but Zach and Tori have reportedly scaled back their online activity to protect their children from unnecessary exposure. They've turned off comments, limited story sharing, and have even considered stepping away from their online brand temporarily to regroup. In an era where false news can spread faster than facts, the Roloff family stands as a sobering reminder of the real-life consequences of misinformation. Not only does it intrude on private grief, but it also creates emotional damage for those still very much alive and trying to cope with multiple layers of hardship. So while no central Roloff figure has passed away, the emotional damage caused by the constant speculation and digital noise is a loss in itself, a loss of peace, privacy, and the ability to process pain without public interference. Stay with us, because in the next part, we'll uncover the family strain that continues to deepen, revealing how past feuds, financial stress, and tragedy are tearing apart the once tight-knit Roloff clan. As flames tore through Matt Roloff's property, fans turned their eyes not only to the family, but to the network that made them famous, TLC. For nearly 2 decades, Little People, Big World has been a cornerstone of the network's programming, a blend of heartfelt storytelling, family drama, and real-life struggles. But now, in the wake of tragedy, financial devastation, and swirling death rumors, many are asking, where is TLC in all of this? TLC's response to the fire and ongoing controversies. The immediate question that surfaced after news of the fire broke was whether TLC stepped up behind the scenes. Was the network present during the crisis? Did it offer support, financial aid, or counseling services? So far, public statements from TLC have been minimal, with only a generic note of concern and well wishes sent out on their social media channels. There's been no official footage or segment showing the network's crew helping clean up the fire damage, nor have producers appeared to be documenting the more serious aftermath. Fans are asking whether the network is washing its hands of the Roloff family now that their show is likely winding down. Some feel that TLC capitalized for years on the family's ups and downs, and now that things have turned grim, with financial loss, tragic events, and rumors of deaths, the network is falling silent instead of standing by the very family that built their ratings. And then there's the deeper question, was enough done to support the Roloffs behind the scenes over the past several years? Support or silence? Longtime viewers point out that there have been signs for a while: stress, emotional fatigue, and clear conflict within the Roloff household. Fans have noted that Tori and Zach especially seemed burned out in the last few seasons. Social media posts from Tori suggested she was exhausted and overwhelmed, yet these moments were often edited into feel-good scenes or used as dramatic cliffhangers. People are now asking whether TLC should have pulled the plug earlier, or at the very least, offered stronger mental health support, especially for the younger Roloff kids appearing on screen. There's increasing concern that the show became more about content than care, filming during moments of distress, tension, and even family breakdowns without giving the Roloffs the space to process their lives away from the camera. An insider report suggests that production pushed hard for certain narratives, even when cast members weren't comfortable sharing. This included Zach and Tori's marital struggles, Amy's new marriage and health challenges, and now, the fallout from the fire and family financial issues. The speculation around the show's end. All of this has fueled renewed speculation that Little People, Big World may be coming to an end. Ratings have declined in recent seasons, and the core family members, Zach, Tori, Jeremy, and even Amy, have distanced themselves from filming. Matt's desire to sell the farm and step back has further confirmed suspicions that the era of LPBW is closing. So far, TLC has not announced a renewal or a final season, but fans believe the silence speaks volumes. Behind the scenes, there's talk that production crews have been let go or reassigned, and that TLC is quietly tying up contracts. There's a sense that the final chapters are being written, not with a triumphant goodbye, but under a cloud of burned bridges and unresolved tensions. If the show truly is ending, many believe it didn't get the dignified exit it deserved. Instead, the final season may be remembered for off-camera tragedies, the fire, the financial losses, and the fractured relationships, rather than the heartwarming family show that once captured America's attention. Anger, support, and confusion. Social media is filled with mixed emotions. Some fans express outrage, accusing TLC of exploiting the Roloff family for profit and then abandoning them when things went south. One viral tweet reads, "TLC used the Roloffs for years. Now that tragedy hits, they ghost them. Disgusting." Others, though, are more measured. Many viewers feel sympathy for the network, recognizing that reality TV is a business and that networks can't be expected to shoulder every burden. Some argue that TLC did its job. It told the family story, paid them well, and provided a platform. What happens beyond the show, they say, is up to the Roloffs. But perhaps the most common reaction is confusion. Fans are left wondering what's real, what's scripted, and who to believe. Were the financial losses exaggerated for drama? Did the fire cause irreparable damage? Or was it a manageable incident spun into a crisis? And are the relationships we've followed for 20 seasons still authentic, or have they become strained under the weight of television storytelling? Across forums, Facebook groups, and YouTube comment sections, one theme keeps surfacing: heartbreak. Longtime viewers feel like they've lost something special, not just because the show might be ending, but because the family they felt so connected to now seems fractured, hurting, and changed forever. As one fan put it, "I started watching when I was 12. I'm 30 now. I feel like I grew up with them, and now I'm watching it all fall apart. It's like losing part of my own story." The Roloff legacy may not end with a neat bow or feel-good reunion episode. But one thing's for sure: the show, the family, and the fans have all been changed by what's happened. The only question now is, how will this story truly end? As the smoke cleared, both literally and metaphorically, the Roloff family began picking up the pieces from a cascade of tragic events: the devastating fire, massive financial losses, ongoing family fractures, and swirling rumors of death and tragedy. But where do things stand today? Let's dive into the current state of the Roloff farm, the family's future, and the possible rebirth of Little People, Big World. The Roloff Farm, a legacy in transition. As of today, the once vibrant and bustling Roloff Farms, located in Hillsboro, Oregon, is quieter than ever before. The western side of the property, which suffered extensive damage from the fire, remains fenced off, with scorched land awaiting full rehabilitation. While the main farmhouse sustained structural damage, the good news is that Matt Roloff and a dedicated team of contractors have begun the rebuilding process. Temporary structures are in place to support continued farm operations, particularly the pumpkin season which, despite all odds, Matt has vowed to bring back this fall. Insurance claims are still being processed, and the total repair cost is estimated to be in the millions. While it's unclear if all areas of the farm will ever fully return to their former glory, Matt has promised that the farm will remain in the family, at least for now. Interestingly, new zoning permits filed with the county suggest Matt may be considering converting a portion of the land into a public memory garden to honor family history and fan support, especially after so many viewers flooded the family's inboxes with letters and stories during their darkest hours. Matt Roloff and Karen Chandler, holding on amid loss. Matt Roloff, now 63, has shown both resilience and weariness in recent updates. His Instagram posts have taken on a more reflective tone, often acknowledging the physical and emotional toll of the past year. While the fire was traumatic, Matt has made it clear he has no intention of walking away from the farm or from his commitment to creating something lasting. Karen Chandler has been a quiet but steady force through it all. After her brief hospitalization due to smoke inhalation and stress-induced complications, she has returned to the farm and continues to assist with operations. Publicly, she has not made many statements, but close friends reveal she's been advocating for more privacy and a shift away from the spotlight, suggesting that both she and Matt are feeling the weight of their years in reality TV. There are whispers in the community that Karen and Matt may finally move forward with wedding plans that had been put on hold due to the fire, although nothing has been confirmed. The couple remains together, even as they reevaluate what legacy really means after such loss. Amy Roloff has shown incredible strength in the aftermath. Though initially shaken by the fire and deeply emotional about its impact on the farm where she raised her children, she's used the situation as a springboard to reconnect with fans. Amy's cooking and lifestyle brand has seen a surprising uptick in sales, fueled in part by sympathy, but also by her transparent, heartfelt updates. Her marriage to Chris Merrick appears to remain stable, and the couple recently celebrated their anniversary with a quiet trip to the Oregon coast. Chris has reportedly encouraged Amy to write a memoir, not about the show, but about healing and life after divorce, family conflict, and public exposure. Amy has also become a vocal supporter of fire safety awareness, even partnering with local agencies to educate rural homeowners on prevention. It's a surprising but empowering turn for the Roloff matriarch. Zach and Tori Roloff, rebuilding privately. Zach and Tori Roloff have remained mostly out of the spotlight in the wake of the fire and the financial turmoil that followed. After moving out of the farm property years ago, the couple had built their own home and life in Washington. While they were not physically affected by the blaze, emotionally they've expressed feeling heartbroken over the loss of part of the family's legacy. Recent social media posts show a family focusing on healing. Tori continues to share sweet moments with their kids, Jackson, Lila, and Josiah, but noticeably avoids referencing the show or family tensions. Zach, meanwhile, has remained silent, fueling speculation that his relationship with his father Matt remains strained. However, friends close to the couple have hinted that Zach may be considering returning to reality television, not necessarily Little People, Big World, but perhaps a new spin-off documenting life as a parent and coach for children with dwarfism. Whether that project comes to life remains to be seen, but it's clear the Roloffs are considering new ways to move forward while honoring their past. Jeremy and Audrey. Distance and rebranding. As for Jeremy and Audrey Roloff, they've stayed distant, both physically and emotionally. Having left Little People, Big World several seasons ago, they've remained focused on their personal brand and family podcasting ventures. While they express sympathy about the fire and financial troubles, they've not been heavily involved in cleanup or rebuilding efforts. Audrey continues to build her motherhood and marriage content empire, while Jeremy works behind the scenes on their property restoration project, very separate from the Roloff farm. The couple's choice to build a life completely detached from Roloff Farms has now come full circle. They've rebranded entirely, and many fans view them as the independent branch of the family. The show's status. Will it continue? And what about Little People, Big World itself? As of now, TLC has not officially renewed the series. Sources close to production suggest the network is weighing several options: a final farewell season, a mini-documentary on the farm's rebuilding, or possible spin-offs focusing on Zach's family or Amy's next chapter. Fan interest remains high, but production challenges, including insurance complications, legal liabilities after the fire, and a lack of unified participation from the family, make the future uncertain. Some fans argue it's time to let the show go out gracefully, while others beg for closure and resolution in the form of one final season. TLC's silence only fuels speculation. As we come to the end of this heartbreaking journey through fire, financial devastation, family fractures, and death rumors, one truth rises above the ashes. The Roloff family has endured more than most could ever imagine. They've shared their joys, struggles, and deeply personal moments with the world for nearly 2 decades. From raising children in the public eye to facing unimaginable losses and betrayals, the Roloffs have remained a symbol of what it means to live authentically, even when the cameras are rolling and the world is watching. The fire that tore through Matt Roloff's home didn't just damage property, it lit up long-simmering tensions. The reported $20 million financial blow wasn't just about dollars lost, it was about dreams deferred and a legacy shaken. And the countless rumors about death and illness, while often false, still speak to the emotional vulnerability that comes from constant exposure. Being in the spotlight has given them a platform, but it's also made every private pain a public headline. Through it all, they've shown strength, even when they were breaking. They've remained human, flawed, and deeply relatable, a family just trying to hold it together in front of millions. And perhaps that's what keeps fans watching. Not perfection, but perseverance. The story of the Roloffs isn't over, but it's forever changed. Whether the show returns or not, their impact will linger, a reminder of what happens when reality TV meets real life, and the lines between both